Hi, this is the Nary Knack, and I'm going to do pretty much my episode thoughts on the first episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, which I just finished watching right now on Hulu, and I'm so excited. Unfortunately, I have a house full of visiting relatives, so I've got to keep it kind of low, so I hopefully do not wake them up. But honestly, I am so happy to have this new anime series. I mean, I got into Sailor Moon with the old one, and I do still love the old series. I've been rewatching it as it's been being the new subs have been put up on Hulu by Viz, and uh, while I love that version, I'm really loving this new version. But then again, I've kind of always liked all the retellings of the Sailor Moon series. Uh, the first episode, of course, like all the other adaptations for Sailor Moon, it actually kind of keeps rather close to the source. So it's basically the same first episode of the original anime series, but it's made some changes because unlike when the first anime was being made, the animators for Sailor Moon Crystal actually know where the story is going to go ultimately. Which I think has made some really good changes, like especially with the character of Tuxedo Mask. Because one thing that's really popped out at me while watching the old anime is that Sailor Mask, or not Sailor Mask, Tuxedo Mask. It's 6 o'clock here, so I'm kind of tired. But yes, Tuxedo Mask. He kind of. It's very difficult to get his character, and sometimes he just seems like unnecessarily mean, and I don't know, just doesn't seem to be a good fit. But with this series so far, I think they've been able to kind of fit him in a little bit better, and thankfully keep him a little bit closer to the his manga version, which so far is my preferred version of the character. But yeah, I'm kind of glad that they've done what they've done with him in this series so far. Of course, there's only one episode, but still, it's enough to get me excited. The character designs overall, at first, I know it was kind of jarring because they are so dramatically different from what the old series or the old version was. But I think overall, in motion, they look a lot better than they do when you just have like the character, the images themselves. And let's see. And while there is use of CGI, honestly, when this was announced and the fact that a lot of the creators working on this came from the Precure series, I was pretty much expecting, it's that to be reflected in this series, and it totally is. Like the use of CGI, but I think overall it's not so bad. I mean, it is definitely like cel shaded. I know I saw like some of the clips beforehand, and I wasn't too impressed. But watching it on Hulu, like with the higher quality, it's not as jarring, especially within the episode itself. I mean, it can be, I guess, if you're just watching it on its own, but I think it kind of runs a little smoother when you're actually watching animation and then, you move into this cel-shaded CGI. And, it's mainly just the transformations and that little bit in the opening sequence so far, and I don't think we're going to get too much more, but at the same time, all the transformation sequences are probably going to have this, so it's just going to be something people are going to have to get used to. And of course, like, some of the changes, instead of Moon Tiara action, we have Moon Tiara boomerang, which kind of threw me off, but you know what? Whatever. I mean, I've been a big fan of the manga and the anime, and there's definitely changes between the two of attack names and everything, so I'm really, ready to roll with it. I think the only thing I'm disappointed with is that there's no, like, next episode previews, but it kind of makes sense because this isn't, like, airing traditionally, as of course most anime, it airs on TV. It has like sponsors and everything, while Sailor Moon Crystal, it's not. It's just airing on the web. And I think most of it is getting funded from all the merchandise that's coming out for the series. And of course, anything it gets from these web broadcasts. Which of course is also another reason I don't have like really, really high standards for the animation. I mean, I definitely expect the animation or the quality of animation that we got, but you know, I wasn't really going to expect too much more, because you know, even this anime series is going to have a budget that it needs to stick to. Let's see. But yeah, I kind of miss having the previews, but I can understand why they're not there. And hey, at least we get to see a little bit of Ami, or yeah. Let's see. So we got to see that little bit of Ami at the end, which was great, and I can't wait. So she's definitely going to be the next episode. In fact, this first episode is titled After Usagi, so I'm assuming Ami's going to get the title for the next one. And the overall, I'm kind of curious about the pacing in general, because you know, it's going to be like what, about 50 something episodes, and if they go like one episode per chapter, they're going to catch up real quick. So I'm assuming at some point they're going to start expanding and kind of adding their own storylines to the original one. But I think probably they're going to try to hurry up and at least get all the Sailor Guardians first, I'm going to assume. But then again, another thing that kind of popped out is the fact that we haven't really seen the villains so much. I mean, yes, we saw the usual monster of the week, but Jedi, he was kept in shadow for most of this. And of course, totally unnamed as well. And we saw nothing of Queen Beryl. So it'll be interesting to see when those characters get worked in and how they get worked in. So that's something really to look forward to. So that's already something that you can tell is definitely quite a bit different than what they did. But of course, in not really showing much of the villains, it did give them a little bit more time to kind of focus on, you know, Usagi and Mamoru for the little bit he showed up. But, you know, the way that he showed up, it just seemed a lot more natural. It wasn't him just like appearing out of nowhere so much. I mean, you could definitely tell he had some kind of reason, and maybe even guess what that reason is. Because again, you know, comparing it to the original anime, he just kind of showed up in his, you know, the places. You didn't really get what he was trying to do so much until like much later in the series. But I think that's more of the issue of the fact, like I brought up earlier, when the original anime was being animated, they weren't sure where the story was going. Because they were pretty much animating it as Naoko Takeuchi was drawing the manga. I guess the only other thing to talk about right now, because like I said, there wasn't really a lot of changes. I mean, I kind of like, for the most part, I like the new voices. I mean, yeah, I kind of miss the old voices, but the new ones are bad. And of course, you know, at least we got the original voice for Sailor Moon back. I think that would have been the most jarring not to have. And the songs, they're kind of growing on me. I mean, I'm not a fan of Momohiro Clover, is it Z or Z? Well, whatever it is. But these songs are actually kind of growing on me. And of course, if you've watched like the subs for Viz put out on streaming, they're actually subtitled, which is kind of surprising since Viz doesn't subtitle their opening and ending themes usually. But they did for Sailor Moon Crystal. And like Moon Pride's, it's actually got a lot of, I guess, positive feminist like lyrics to it, saying like, we don't need a prince, we can save ourselves kind of thing. So, and so of course, like, which is a bit of departure from Moonlight, was it Dancets? Yes, I think that's it. Again, early morning. Uh, but then again, like, what that song about, you know, meeting your, being your, I guess, destined one again. Those, that actually kind of seems to be, like, within the lyrics of the end theme, which is, I think, a nice little nod and kind of that continuation from, you know, the original theme song. And I think I've rambled on enough about just about enough. Like I said, I've just finished watching it for the first time. I'm definitely gonna go back and watch it again. Uh, I and like I mentioned before, being the first episode, you know, no matter what the adaptation is, most of the time they kind of stick pretty true to the source for, you know, the first episode, or at least the first, or the origin story, I guess, of Sailor Moon herself. And that's pretty much what we got in at least new shiny animation. Um, so, like I said, I'm going to be doing these episode thoughts for every episode of Sailor Moon Crystal as they come out. And so I guess see you in 2 weeks. Bye.